really been helpful, not just for you guys to track it, but I think for our clients, there's a lot of questions around, how the gas was sold, why the weighted average sales price is what it is, especially when you get to multiple midstream companies, multiple downstream sales meters. It could be a single midstream, but you're selling at multiple points at the tailgate of the plant. And now you add in multiple midstreams. You've got different indexes that you have to track. You've got some people that have transport at the tailgate of those plants, and then you have to move it downstream. So there's invoices there. You've also got the complexities between selling it first of the month or selling it daily. And sometimes that price can be very close to each other. Other times that price can be wildly different. And so trying to figure out why the price was what it was at a small company can be hard, but if you're at a big company even too, it's just tracking that stuff. I mean, again, I talked to a public company the other day who is not a client, but they expressed interest, and they were like, yeah, whenever we get a request on why was our price this, we've got to go manually pull all these trades and build this spreadsheet, or, their investor relations person has to go try to figure it out and put together a slide basically in an investor deck saying this is how we sold the product to show how they got to that price. Whereas in Ancova View, it gives you a snapshot and you can immediately see it. And then not only can you see it, you can drill down into that data.
Yeah, that's what's great about this, the dashboard itself, is that, we have a whole page dedicated to specifically that. How did your deal get made and where was it sold? What midstream sold on what point? What index? Was it first month? Was it gas daily? And then once you have that data aggregated and, it's tied to everything else that we've got together, then you can go down to, like we mentioned before, all the way down to CDP or the specific well and say which well was most profitable, which well did this and did that, where was the gas, that was produced here, where did it go? And, you can look at that to do different analytics, decide, do I want to sell differently next month? Was that the best way to go or was it not? And so it gives you a lot of power to really, choose your own path in the marketing side of the business.
Absolutely. Beyond the settlement statement, we've then taken some aspects of the settlement statement and broken those down into some more detail. So there's the fees tab or module, and then there's the NGL page as well. Maybe talked about some of those, what they do.
On the NGLs page, we have a historical record of when was that production month in recovery or rejection for ethane. We also will basically visually break out, okay, how much of your NGL revenue was in rejection, how much of it was on recovery, how much of it was sold on Mont Belvieu versus Conway. On the fees page, we have all your different fee buckets, fee categories, and we have $1 per MCF and $1 per MMBTU. And then we also, some information that isn't on the settlement statement as well, is we take, your POP for NGL and residue, and we value it as if it were a fee. So you can see how much revenue you're losing because your contract has a specific percent of proceeds attached to it.
I mean, I think that is, again, it gets back to drilling down into the data and how long it would take you to normally do it, and then being able to do the filters. I mean, I don't think we've talked much about the filters, but the different layers that you can filter this at. It's actually, the filtering is cool, but usually you get it filtered. You get it by well, so you can go pull a statement and look at it. But it's one thing to say, to add different categorization elements. You could say, if you've got a field and you're like, this is our north whatever field and our south field or our west field or whatever, or within a basin you have different play names or different zones, maybe different wells have different zones. And so if you provide us with those categorizations and those different categories, we can put those into a data field, and now you can pull every well from the west side of your play that's in this certain formation or zone, and you can see an NGL shrink or an NGL yield or the fees on those. Or you can pull every well from a certain field, but you want to parse it out by each midstream company and then compare the two. Quickly do that. And then everything in there, not only does it have these filters, but you can also export everything to Excel.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. And if there's anything that you want to export that isn't coming through the way you want it, we always have the data on the back end and can easily pull together a report for someone in whatever format they want.
trying to think what else here on the NGL tab. Some of the features there, I really like the rejection and recovery breakouts and some of the historical trends there.
Yeah, and our kind of next phase, we're working on it. We're not there yet, but we're hoping to, because we handle elections for some of our customers. Some of them handle elections themselves, and there's been a lot of interest in showing, okay, we rejected in this month, but what if we had recovered? What would the netback have been? You know, what was that difference? Did we make the right decision? So that's a feature that is coming in the near future.
Yeah, and I mean, like just